So this, that looks like it emerged from a middle school science experiment, is in fact a brine shrimp incubator. It consists of two main components, the air pump and the incubator itself, which is essentially nothing more than a plastic tube where thousands of brine shrimp eggs are constantly being tossed around. Now, you've probably watched my previous video where I do the unboxing and setup of one of these, but I wanted to give it a second try. Now that I've done a little bit of research, I'm confident that we can make them grow bigger and stronger. Welcome to Brine Shrimp Part 2, or rather, attempt number 2. This time, we'll be paying close attention to factors such as salinity, temperature, aeration, light, food, and water quality. The last time we attempted this, we fed them to the corals on the second day. They were these tiny translucent dots that were barely visible on camera. So now we decided to keep them for at least 10 days, and this time really taking care of them on this small nanocube tank and see how big they can get. Let's begin by quickly demonstrating how to set up one of these. To connect the air pump to the incubator, you'll need a middleman called a check valve. This small piece of plastic allows air to flow from one side while preventing water from flowing back the other way. It is crucial to know which side is which, as it acts as a safety measure. In the event the pump stops, whether due to lack of charge or a malfunction, the water won't flow back, potentially causing a pump flood. It is worth noticing that you should tighten all the connections as tight as possible using your fingers only. Once again, air flows from here through the check valve, all the way to the incubator. When the pump stops, the water remains contained within the check valve. Let's proceed. Everything we need is right here on this table. We'll begin with the brine shrimp eggs, which are so minuscule they could easily be mistaken for grains of sand. We found these on Amazon, and from our last video, they seem to work exceptionally well. We'll include a link in the description so you can check them out. These eggs hatch rapidly, taking anywhere from 18 to 36 hours. If you consider that it takes around 10 days for them to reach adulthood, you'll have a full batch of brine shrimp in less than 2 weeks. Now, onto the salt. I'm using Aquaforest because that's what I typically use in my aquarium. I recommend using the same brand of salt that you already use in your aquariums as well. The instructions on the tube indicate that I should use 1 tablespoon per liter, so we'll go with that. Next up is adding water. It can be either tap water or filtered water. Brine shrimp aren't too picky. In this scenario, I'm using tap water. I'm not filling it all the way because it might spill when we turn on the air pump. You just want to ensure there are no leaks in the system. It looks great and ready to go at this point. Before we add the eggs, we need to add the salt. While the tube is gently bubbling, pour in the salt. I waited for about 5 minutes to allow it to mix, and then I moved on to add the brine shrimp eggs. I'm using 1 teaspoon for this batch. You may notice that some of the eggs stick to the sides of the tube, your fingers, or the spoon, and that's perfectly normal. Just dip the tip of your finger or the spoon in the water, and that should do the trick. Now we close the lid, and from this point on, it's simply a waiting game. So it only took me 48 hours to decide to move these little guys from their incubator tube into a bigger 5-gallon tank. We also need to add some salt because it is a larger container than the tube. I could have kept them in the tube longer, but like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to have more control over the parameters. I've got the brine shrimps in there, and we'll check back in 10 days. Fast forward 10 days, and at first glance, it is a bit tricky to spot them on camera, especially since they are all over the tank. But I've noticed they really like light. Just watch what happens when I shine myself on light. I wanted to get a closer look, so I pulled out this small pocket microscope that I like using for my reef tank. It has always amazed me how tiny creatures like these look, or better yet, how they see the world. You can find links down below if you want to support the channel by getting one of these microscopes with different zoom options. Now, back to the feeding. I'm going to feed some of these shrimps to my fish in the smaller tank and leave the rest for another week to let them grow bigger and reach what I consider their true adult size. Another week has passed and these guys are now hard to miss at glance. In just a week, they've tripled in size. I still think they can get a bit bigger, but not to the point of doubling their current size, so I'll consider this their adult size, which means it is feeding time. Now, it is time for my larger tank. I'm not turning off the tank's flow because they know that when that happens, it means I'm going to stick my hands in and do some maintenance, which will make them all hide, and even food wouldn't entice them. So with the flow still going, let's see how they react. Okay guys, so this was the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys liked it. And I hope you guys enjoy this reaction of the fish eating the copepods that we just did. Okay. I would really appreciate your support through likes, subscribes or comments. I've also provided links for almost everything I used to make this video possible. See you next time.